Hey guys, welcome back. I just wanted to talk real quick about these cool, creepy, different kind of videos I found and what y'all think. All right, let's get into it. And always, guys, please like and subscribe. Help me out. I help you out. We enjoy videos together. Okay, let's go.
First round of tests are done. Come to find out, my blood type is ORH negative, and now they want to see this really cool thing in the bathroom. What happens to my eye when the lights are off? So we have the nurse in here. Watch what happens. She went to go grab a towel. This should be interesting. We'll do this one.
Turn your eye around. Look up at the light.
But look at his eyes. That is not right. Something's not right. As hard as it is to believe that there are like these underground places that have, where they're actually taking people and they're, I guess, de-skinning them, if you would. I don't know exactly how it is, but it kind of reminds me of The Simpsons, whenever they're, regular people or whatever, and then they take off this bodysuit and it's like a alien.
These latest images are shot with a heat detecting camera. Hillary is blue, cold, metal.
That to beware, because the enemy is a wolf in sheep's clothing. What if that was literal? What if the wolf was them and they are in sheep's clothing being us as the herd? I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know, but this is pretty real to me. So what do y'all think? Let me know.
Why won't anyone believe my crazy story?
Are the aliens? Maybe they're among us. I don't know.
Circles that I've always been curious about. It's believed that President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed a peace treaty with an alien race in 1954 that might have allowed for human abductions. I mean, if this is true, it would be an explosive revelation. So I'm going to continue my investigation by speaking with Laura Eisenhower, President Eisenhower's great-granddaughter. That I'm hoping you can either confirm or deny for me. I'm just going to come right out and ask you, do you believe that your great-grandfather, Dwight D. Eisenhower, signed a treaty with extraterrestrials?
It's a true story. What I've learned about Eisenhower's relationship to extraterrestrial beings and ET government treaties is that supposedly in 1954 there was a meeting at Edwards Air Force Base.
Right.
They seemed to have diplomatic intention. The treaties had to do with bartering exchanges of planetary goods, natural resources, elements, and compounds. And it was in exchange for things like abduction.
Why would they want to abduct humans? What are they doing with that?
But they need our DNA. We have a treasure of DNA that is basically a living library.
That what's going on is an interdimensional thing. And is our government involved in a relationship with beings from another realm, or how do you view that whole thing?
Well, according to the Air Force's, the OSI's own investigation, that they had looked into the whole thing about the UFO wave kicking off in 1947.
E.B. became ill, and they tried to save him. They were unsuccessful. They didn't know how to go about it. But in an attempt to save him, and also in an attempt to gain favor with this technologically superior race, they began broadcasting out into space for help. E.B. The government, ladies and gentlemen, is giving you information at an unprecedented rate every day. They are trying to get to your subconscious and tell you the story of what has happened over the last 44 years. So that when the truth comes out, it is not a critical shock. In 1954, our in 1953, we detected large objects in space coming toward the Earth. They took up a high orbit around the equator. These objects were determined to be spacecraft intelligently controlled. We did establish communications with them. Arrangements were made for them to land. President Eisenhower had arranged to be on vacation in Palm Springs. At the appointed date and time, President Eisenhower was whisked away. He actually disappeared. Nobody even saw the helicopter come or go, but he just flat disappeared. The press was really shook up, and if you read the newspapers during that period of time, you'll find that the press literally went wild trying to locate him. They were given a story that he was taken to a dentist for a toothache. They never found a dentist that treated President Eisenhower. In fact, he was at Edwards Air Force Base. He reached a formal agreement with the aliens and a treaty was signed.
Aliens and the Nazis took place. When did all this start?
Let me begin. This is really, I'm telling you, Joe, this is a real deal.
I believe you.
This is, you ask, who are they? It's people who are psychically, genetically available to interface in this incredibly diverse universe with all these dimensions above and below and all around us with consciousnesses. And the truth is, no energy is ever destroyed. It all continues on. The truth is, our bodies, this is a fact, are a communal hive organism of all of our ancestors and all of their race memories, but not in just some compressed epigenetic system. It's beyond that. It's an electrochemical antenna, they've proven this, that connects to higher and lower dimensions. So our bodysuit, because our predecessors wouldn't put us in a position without giving us a bodysuit that is them. Our families are loving us. They're holding us. They're wrapped all around us. Their strength, their will, their bad, their good, their sins, the good things they did, the battles they won, the battles they lost, the woman they loved, the man they loved. It's all in us, all these people. It's why we're able to look into so many things and have so many different experiences. And so all the shaman, all the ancient religions, everybody says there are the good ones and there are the bad ones, and people are interfacing. So you say, where does it begin? From the Tibetans to the Mesoamericans to the Egyptians to the Druids to every ancient society describes the same thing. There are bad things that look like elves that have horns when they show you who they really are, and there are good things, but they don't contact you unless you contact them, and then they're almost not even concerned with what you're doing. I never bought into this, looked into it. But then I began to think about, what did I hear when I was a kid? What did I see? What was coming out in government documents? What was being admitted? When I read all these books about World War II and the Nazis and Hitler obsessed with the Dalai Lama and the Tibetans and what they were able to do without drugs to interface with this, and all the rituals they would do and how they would believe that beyond the ether, like at Skull and Bones, it's a German death cult, they do rituals and take drugs to talk to the goddesses. Well, they're just appearing as, sexy, beautiful women. It's whatever you want as these spirit guides, because lower entities will come in and violate your free will. God and his angels, which are below him, will not get involved in your everyday life. They will not manipulate your free will unless you ask them in. But then the devil masquerades as an angel of light. So we're on this planet, the third dimension, which is a launch pad to all the other dimensions below and above. The third dimension, all the mathematics shows, is the primal sea of where all this happens. And the Earth's like an egg, and we've got all this potentiality. And God will send out a transmission for a larger plan, but evil's willing to come in. And what does it say? Demoralize, get rid of children, don't have kids. Humans are bad. We'll be better once you're all gone. And it's because it's their operational mission for whatever reason that we'll understand later what's going on. So the Nazis, if you get into deep literature, they believed they were basically seancing and being possessed by entities that, it was before the Nazis. For whatever reason, it was the Germans that this happened to, and the Swiss. Like, they didn't discover LSD in the 30s. These people were running the psychology departments. They were interfacing with the occult. They were involved in all this crazy stuff, and it was all about their power and how great they were going to be. And the Germans were seduced. And they were seduced because they had high IQs, but more than that, they were psychically connected to each other and would work like robots. The Chinese and the EU want robots to replace us because they'll follow orders. And the Chinese are very conscious when they're conscious, but they're also very robotic. But the Germans are just as robotic. So this entity system picked Germans as its attempt, even in World War I, World War II, and it was manipulating the Brits as well, and offering them technologies, but two different paths. One was social control and all this other stuff with the Brits. The other was high-tech weapons, systems, interdimensional with the Germans. And so whoever these players are, and you can dial into it, but it's very dangerous. They're manipulating the British arm versus the German arm, and then they've got the Chinese arm that's almost seen as like their robot army. And so when you study it, the globalists go to these events and they take bigger and bigger doses of drugs. They do electroshock. If you go back to owners of Time Life books, weren't just in the 20s and 30s into LSD and other hallucinogens. And apothecary, they were getting electroshock. They were having people turn their heart off to like try to communicate with these things to try to be dominant and get that. So you go back thousands of years, Merlin, the archetypal, or these magicians or these wizards are taking drugs in these temples and interfacing with these palantirs, these crystal balls, which aren't really crystal balls. It's their psychic focus of an interdimensional connection while they're on drugs, looking into glass, to then be able to see the future and understand what's happening, to give them temporal power over this planet. But like the Bible tells you, any pharmakia or any of that always leads to destruction, because only evil is going to come through that way. So we're basically have these light sockets. We can't jack into the higher unless it's our free will, and that takes time. We jack in to the evil. So you can jack into evil, you can't jack into good right away. So it's quicker, it's easier, like Yoda says about Darth Vader. Quicker, easier, more seductive. And so then I remember being a kid,